Hello, Receptive Radio. Thank you for joining me on Receptive Radio. If you're a member, I'm so grateful to have you part of this community that is visionaries, influencers, change makers. Whether you're enlightened already and evolved, or you're down in the dumps in a downward spiral and you want to move up, this is the group for you. And today we're going to talk about presence and how powerful it is and how powerful it is to clear our distractions when we're present. When we get out of presence, we get up in our headspace. Many of you in this group already know that. But to the larger community that I'm streaming to today, that I'm inviting you to come to Receptive Radio, this is a taste of what this group does every week, Thursday at 12:30. We come back to being home within ourselves, in our inner bodies, where the inner work happens. And we quickly can transform anything that gets in the way of our purpose and of being in our power. And I know this downward spiral, I've been there before, where we start discouraging ourselves or letting other people discourage us, or we start comparing ourselves to others. Well, somebody's already doing, I'm not going to go after it. Why do I want to bother? I've been there before. What other ways? Oh, we feel really expanded. We are in a conference like I am, and I'm getting really expanded, and I'm in potential, and I've seen the road clearly. But then when you leave and you go home to implement everything you've learned, you can start falling off what you thought you were going to do. Well, this group, Receptive Radio, keeps us maintaining this state of open receptivity, which means being present in your body and powerful, open to receiving the guidance and life direction that leads us always on our purpose, our path of purpose. So I've been in Denver, Loveland, Colorado, actually, since Monday. And it's been an awesome trip. I've been learning so many things about my business. And I'm getting very, very clear that I need to eliminate all the distractions. And it's impossible to eliminate all your distractions immediately. But once we start noticing what they are and how they take over and grab us and hook us into them and take us away from what we really want to do, we can make a change. And noticing them is the first step to be aware of them. And if you can get aware of them, well, then you can contemplate like, ooh, how is this really interfering with what I want to do? So recently I binged on Outlander over the holidays. And I feel like Christmas, the holiday season and all the marketing and shopping and stress around that can be a big distraction for many of us. But it's also a great time to be with family and to reconnect with our loved ones. So, I mean, there's the good and the bad. There's the ways that we consume it, right? And so everything that we consume has a effect on us. And I've realized that I need to be more discerning about what I decide to distract myself with when I'm done working for the day, when I'm ready to relax. How do I want to feed myself and nourish myself with information? Because there's so much information, there's so much out there to distract us from our life purpose work and being powerful at it. So what do I want to put into myself through my eyes, through what I hear, through the food I eat, from what I drink, through the energy that I put myself in, like the people I hang out with. They can be feeding us or they can be eating us alive, these distractions. And they can create things that we didn't realize were happening to us until we get into a state of heightened consciousness where we can actually see it. So Receptive Radio helps us get into a heightened state of consciousness, and then once a week so that we can practice more and more, because it's a daily practice to be present. It's a minute by minute practice. And when we notice when we get out of our bodies and start going into worry and anxiety, that's where our attention goes. We get out of our body. And then I have to work to get myself back into my body. But the more I practice being present in my body, the more I come into myself regularly and keep my attention and awareness on that, the more I stay here, and it's harder for me to get out of my body. We were just doing some public speaking practice in a business group that I'm training with this week. And we were practicing going out of our heads and talking, and practicing being in our bodies and talking. And I have to consciously bring myself up to my head. I have to consciously bring myself down to my body to do these practices. And it's really interesting watching this contrast. So I want to take us through this practice right now. And just notice yourself. And you're not talking to somebody, but you could be just thinking of something you want to say. Maybe you have a relationship issue, or somebody triggered you and you want to say something to them about it. Notice yourself outside of your body right now. Just bring your attention to the front part of your body, to the top, to outside of your head. And in your mind, bring yourself to the front of your mind too. You can say it out loud too. I'll say it out loud to practice so I can show you the difference. So I'm bringing myself up out of my body. I'll just introduce myself. Hi, I'm Jennifer Sifert. I work with visionaries. I help them be present and powerful so they can do their purpose work and be prosperous at it. So they can clear the distractions and obstacles. So they can go after their desires and feel fulfilled. Okay. For me, I was really like, leaning forward, kind of shooting my energy at you guys who are watching. So this time I'm going to practice it being in my body center, my power center, womb space dantian, the pelvic bowl of my body. And you can practice as well, coming back to your home space. Just noticing yourself in the lower half of your body. And then noticing your breath when you're in your lower half of your body. When I'm up in my head, I stop breathing and I hold my breath. But now, coming back into my body. Maybe you can even touch your belly. Touch it. Bring yourself back down here. Hi, I'm Jennifer Sifert. And I really think and know and feel that presence is very powerful. And I created this group, Receptive Radio, this private Facebook group. It also streams on YouTube, so that we can practice every week together as a community to be present, which opens us up to being receptive and receiving our life, receiving the next step, receiving the idea, the inspiration, the vision clearly in our daily lives, every day when we're working on our business, when we're working with clients, when we're talking to our boyfriends, our husbands, when we're dealing with our family, when we're at the football game, when we're at the horse races, when we're at the networking event. We want to be present. So I I want us to practice this as a community, because when we practice as a group, we are even more powerful. And this level of consciousness that we're practicing, this presence, when we do it in a group and we start vibrationally matching with each other, it starts to ripple out in a really good way, in a contained way, inspiring others. And when we can hold ourselves in presence, we actually attune the other person that we're talking to, whether it's over Zoom or over in person, to that same presence and help them get there too. Isn't that like magic? That's pretty powerful. And so that's womb space for me. Can you tell the difference? Put in the chat if you can tell the difference of when I'm in headspace talking and when I'm in womb space talking. Just yes or no. And if you're watching the replay, put it in yes or no. Okay, so that's one way to practice, just by consciously bringing yourself out into your headspace and consciously bringing yourself back into your body. And that's just one practice that we do on Receptive Radio. And so somebody, I don't know your name, but thank you. You can feel it more on the ladder, they say. Okay, great. Thank you so much for commenting. So imagine every week coming in here and practicing at lunchtime, taking a break on Thursdays and at lunch and becoming more present, and then going back to work, wherever you work, or going back into whatever you're doing, and people noticing the shift in you. Because I know when we get to work in the morning, I used to do this a lot. I used to be a chartered professional accountant, and I'd set myself up in the morning. I have a very strong practice. I'm a pretty disciplined person. And so I would set myself up, and then I would go to the office. And for about an hour, I could maintain it, this presence. But then things started coming at me, and I started getting frustrated and angry and anxious. And then an emergency would happen, a client emergency, or somebody was demanding something at me, and I start getting pain in my shoulder, and I felt getting hooked in. Because that this distraction of being in an office where I didn't want to be, doing work that it wasn't purposeful for me, started pulling me out of myself, started getting me up here. And then I was, I often was swearing. I was swearing often and being resentful. So the point of the story is like, I had to get out of there because it wasn't a vibrational match for me. And I knew that it was kept pulling me out of myself. So if I actually did this. I did do Receptive Radio all last year, even when I was still working in that career. And it did bring me back to being home, being back to myself, being back into my power. And then I could make it through the rest of the afternoon. But that really sucked, having to just make it through the day. But use this Receptive Radio for wherever you are now to help you get clearer and clearer and clearer on what you want to do, where you want to be, who you are, and how you want to serve, so that you can be ready and attract and magnetize new opportunities to yourself that are better, that of what you want, in a higher frequency. And it might even be where you already are working. And because you're doing the work, and you do it regularly, you can tune the rest of the office to your field. Okay, let's do another practice. So let's come into our womb space. Just bring your attention there, your focus, your inner eye. Close your eyes, drop into your breath, put your hands on your belly. And notice while you're inside yourself that you have an auric field around you, a radiant light field. And notice that this field is glowing. Imagine it glowing, and it has a band around it about an arm's length out. And it contains all the life force energy that you have generated within yourself and have received from the earth, the sun, from your daily practice, from the work you do, the inner work you do, that life force, that excitement, that drive, that purpose of why you're here. That field contains it. So imagine you're in your radiant light field. You're in your womb space. You're in your dantian if you're a man. And men have womb spaces as well. They don't birth babies. Anyway. Come back there. Feel into that. And then just notice into your energy field. And with your breath alone and with yourself guiding your attention to that space, breathe in more life force through your breath, because I believe and I know that the breath can bring in life force into us. And then as you breathe out, you can breathe it into your field, and with intention and with just the thought directing it, just keep it contained in your field. Just see yourself in your power, present right here to this live stream. Sitting inside your field, imagining yourself inside of it. And your imagination is creating it right now. And that you're containing all of your energy, your life force. And that it protects you, but it also helps you to be receptive to great opportunities. And so today, after this episode, you're going to be in your presence. You're going to be radiant and glowing and full of life force. And you can go do your emails. Go have that client meeting. Go work on that project. And be open to receiving the guidance that you desire without having to figure it out. Having to create a solution or be worried about it. Because we're guiding ourselves back to this place and knowing that we're in this field that protects us but stays open to receiving the best and highest for ourselves. And so go about your day, test it out. Thank you for joining me on Receptive Radio. And if you're interested in joining Receptive Radio, just search in the Facebook search link, Receptive Radio. It'll come up and press join. And then you'll be in. So this community is for visionaries, change agents, influencers. Whether you're already on the enlightenment or involving yourself, or you're stuck, this serves us all. We can become really powerful together and transform the world around us by practicing together. You can share information about presence. So have a great day. Thanks for watching.